Welcome to a new era of wrestling podcasts, where the hot takes, fantasy booking, nostalgic trips, and everything that happens in your day-to-day life always comes back to the squared circle. It's the Everything is Pro Wrestling podcast with Mike DeSilva, Josh Flanagan, and Nick Flanagan.
And we are back. Episode 39. We're approaching 40.
We are.
That's what happens after 39.
We're close.
Oh, and Roman Reigns
has
down.
left the building.
He does not like that we're near 40.
He probably doesn't like being...
He thinks of WrestleMania 40, so he's like, oh, I don't like that.
And he also probably is like, I'm not going to be responsible to hold up this Cowboys flag.
Well,
I'm going to
fair.
get a more...
Fair play, Roman.
Yeah.
Fair play. You are. I can acknowledge that.
I'm going to get a more permanent solution
You know
for that. You guys, don't worry. You guys don't have to worry about all that.
I know you good. The fact that you got us putting the cowboy band
I know.
on
I
means
feel
that we love you.
I feel like I need to wash my hands now after touching
Yeah.
this.
No, it is. It's a sad life. just humor me for like 1
I saw a
minute.
fun stat. Sorry, I have to because you said it. The last free agent that the Cowboys gave over $6 million a year to, 2015, Greg Hardy.
Yeah, good guy.
Greg Hardy.
Really good guy.
The last
yeah.
time they
Damn.
paid somebody any sort of decent money.
Yeah.
It's been 10 years. And
I
it
wonder
was,
if that's what did it.
yeah,
Like, you saw everyone
never
like,
given anybody.
we're not paying anybody
5.9
money
is
ever
my
again.
cap.
Yep.
Sick. Sick.
Awesome guy.
Oh,
People don't
just
talk
the
about
best.
how good of a guy he is.
Oh, yeah.
And never had any domestic violence issues.
Shame.
That
That one year, though. That 1 year,
and
Carolina.
not shout out to
Yes.
Greg Hardy. In
No,
case
no.
you can't pick up on the
Fuck that
sarcasm
guy.
there. Fucking loser.
Not a member of the Hardy Boys.
Not a cool
Thankfully.
Hardy.
Not a cool Hardy.
No.
Not even like the book Hardy
Not the
Boys.
book Hardy. He's not he's committing crimes.
Yes.
Not
He is who
solving
they
them.
go and find.
Yeah.
They did a news. They brought him back. I don't even know if the author is still alive of the Hardy Boys.
I don't know either. I have
But
no
if-
idea when those books first came out.
I'm going to guess no. But
I'm gonna guess probably not because those are old.
You know,
you never know. I mean,
I'm
those
gonna
are
look it up.
pretty old.
No, they are pretty old.
Yeah, I don't have access to anything.
Although sometimes things aren't as old as you thought. I always used to think
true.
the Lord of the Rings books were from like the 1800s. They're from like World War II.
Okay.
Like they're not that old.
So the
the Lord of the Rings books.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dude wasn't he still alive when the movies came out? They were authored?
Yeah. I always thought those books
Tolkien?
were from like the 1800s though.
You thought they were written?
I thought they were like old as fuck
in
books.
like
I
stone
would
pallets.
I would have thought
Yeah,
the same.
right?
I would have thought the same.
Nah, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, those. Yeah,
Game of Thrones I knew were newer, but I didn't know Lord of the Rings and Chronicles of Narnia are from like the same time.
yeah. Both.
Those two authors were actually friends.
Chronicles of Narnia. I watched the movie, the first movie, because there was multiple,
Yeah, I think there were
right.
two movies.
I think I watched one of them.
and
Couldn't tell you a thing.
No, I couldn't tell you a damn thing about it. I just know that we still use the term Narnia, like you're going out to
Yeah,
Narnia.
you go- yeah,
So
yeah.
that's got to mean something.
Right.
I don't know. The Legacy of Narnia. Shout out to him. Episode 39. When I think 39, I think Danny Woodhead.
I think Willie Parker.
Sorry.
Willie Parker.
Hardy Boys author died long.
Yeah, I was
fucking
gonna
time
say.
ago.
When did he
He
die?
died in 1930.
He died in
He
1930.
died in
Oh
1930.
shit!
He was born in
Okay.
1862.
So they were
Okay.
old books. Damn.
So
Okay.
he got to see the Babe play.
He did.
That's cool.
He would've
Way
gotten to see him play.
before Jeff and Matt were a twinkle in their.
Well, I was gonna say I think that's when
grandparents'
Jeff Hardy died the first time, and then he's being
Right.
reincarnated
Yeah.
many times since
Yeah.
then.
He's been brought
That
back
was
a
his
few
first
times.
DUI. Was
He's
1930.
on. He might be on Live Number 9.
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
not. Hopefully 7 or 8. 'cause-
Continuing to see the Hardy Boys in WWE is
Yeah.
just.
It's awesome.
It's great. It's
Yeah.
great, but it blows my mind.
just this week.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
last week.
Looking
And-
really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly. That's my thing. To see that it looks like they've, at the moment at least, overcome
Yeah.
their problems.
They're
which
in their
is,
Steve-O
huge.
era.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, right, yeah, yeah.
Everything is. I saw it. Was Steve-O recently? Was it what asshole did he want to go on their show?
I was talking about his specifically because
Right.
No, well,
We've
we've
seen that a few
I was gonna
times.
say, we've all seen
We've seen
that.
that one.
We've all seen that, but it was fucking
pierce them
Bill
together.
Maher. Bill
Oh, okay.
Maher was the asshole in question. Wanted to have him on the show, and Bill Maher smokes weed on
Right.
his show now. Steve-O was like, well, I'd love to come on, but I'm this many
Straight
years under
edge,
my
sober.
sobriety. I don't want to do that. And he was like, all right, well, cool. Then you it's either you come on the show and I smoke weed, or you don't come on the show. And Steve-O was like, okay, I'm not coming on the show then.
Yeah, the
like
fuck?
what
Yeah.
the fuck? You
It's
want
an
to kill
easy
my
decision.
sobriety because you want to smoke a doobie,
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm all for smoking a doobie when you want to smoke a
Yeah,
doobie,
you
but like,
smoke-
come on, have some respect for the guests
Right,
you want to
right.
have on.
You respect the other people around you in that moment.
we respect the doobie, but we also respect
Yeah.
the people who don't want to be around.
Exactly,
The doobie.
Right.
Especially Steve-O. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
I think we all champion this.
Somebody
Like,
that
we're
could
so happy.
relapse very
That's what I'm
quickly.
saying.
Yeah, you respect
the fact that,
that
he's
dude.
made it to where he is now in 2025. God
Right.
bless him.
Not to
Right.
mention that, yes, for many reasons, the physical abuse and also the drug abuse. But like, I'll never forget that MTV special that they did. Did you watch that? It was a long time ago. 15.
When he was trying to get clean?
No. This was a special on Steve-O. Basically, it began as like kind of like his life story.
Yeah.
And then they focused heavily on what his current state was, and he was heavily into
probably
whippets.
the worst, yeah.
And this was when like Knoxville and stuff were trying to
get him
clean.
clean.
Yeah. And they like showed footage
I feel
of
I remember this.
Steve-O's apartment, and it's just whippets all over the
everywhere.
floor. He punched holes in his walls.
I do remember this.
And like there was some very grim stuff, and it didn't have a happy. This wasn't like, oh, and now he's clean.
Yeah.
This was still like
this was before he got clean.
Yeah, this was like still like, yeah, he could die tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like this is
And I
showing you
think
what's happening.
in hindsight, timing wise, like when that came out, I think is when things started to kind of turn around. So
It
could have been like
could have been
that
the wake-up
being
call
like
for
the
him.
wake up call and it being on Front Street and everyone see like having. Being able to come into your living room could have been that. And also shout out to those guys for being good friends and continuously not giving up on him.
Yeah,
They could have given up on him in a long time. Well, yeah.
Bam Margera
That's another story.
But I mean, he's somebody who never recovered from Ryan Dunn and stuff like that. And
That
just
shit was
spiraled.
tragic.
And even if they did offer help, it didn't.
Yeah, I don't think he would
accept
have
it.
took it at that time.
Yeah,
Shout out to Papa Phil and his mom and
Yeah.
that whole family. I loved that show as a kid. All of those shows. I mean, they
Pam?
were
Was
just
her name Pam?
no, not Pam. If you say it, I'll know it. Phil and
Phil and Mark? No, not Margera was the name. Who the
I
hell?
don't know. I can't think of her damn name.
Oh my God! It's
And then
gonna
the
drive me
uncle. What's
insane.
the uncle's name?
Don
God
Vito.
rest his soul.
He's
Yeah,
dead.
Don Vito.
He
rest
ended
his
up being
soul.
kind of a weirdo.
Was he?
Oh yeah.
I mean that checks out.
Yeah, no, he ended up having
Like some
some
pedo shit.
Yeah,
Eh,
like
I-
some.
I'd be lying if I said I couldn't see it.
Yeah,
He was
No.
very creepy on that show. So.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% certain it was like necessarily pedo, but I
Something.
think it was
Yeah.
definitely something inappropriate. He was in prison. He went to
Checks
jail.
out. What a time. What a time.
Yeah.
That 2000s reality television
Yeah.
was goated because that to me was like the last era of it being like not knowing it's not real, but also like just felt realer.
Yeah.
Something
Well,
raw
especially-
about it.
Yeah. And
Especially
some of
show
that
like
shit was-
Jackass, like that was
still
real.
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh, no,
they're
that
do-
was real.
They're
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
that
yeah.
shit.
But like it was like filmed on camcorders, and
Right.
shit, you know, at the beginning, and it just felt
Flips.
so raw.
Remember
Yeah.
Flips? Wow.
Yeah,
The
Viva
flip
La
camcorders?
Bam, Wild Boys.
Yeah.
with Steve-O and
When
Chris
MTV was
Pontius.
MTV and when VH1 was VH1, like it was the golden era. True Life is one that like, oh my God. I'll
Yeah.
still watch episodes
True
of
Life is good. Diary, the Diary of
Yep.
Behind
Good
the
shit,
Music.
man.
Biology
Shout out to
were
MTV News. All of those
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, well they're clapped.
All of them.
MTV
Yeah.
News is
They're
clapped
gone.
now.
But like all of those reporters, man.
Sucks.
The one negative about those reality shows is that's like the start of MTV moving away from
Yeah,
music in
yeah,
general.
it was.
That's
They were
that's
like,
when
oh, this is
ridiculousness
what-
took over.
Right, exactly.
Because that was around the time Ridiculous started. 'Cause
Right.
early Ridiculous, when it was just Robin Big before, so Ridiculous was amazing. Loved
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That camaraderie was fucking another one.
Oh,
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Big Black.
That
man.
was fucking
Oh,
amazing, man. Those were like genuine, like just fun moments,
Yeah.
like
The
fun,
Man
genuine
Pond,
laughs.
dude.
Yeah, it was
Man
so
Pond's
good.
goated.
Yeah.
That
It was
was a
so
goated
good. Like to
episode.
this day, I'll still walk around my house and just be like, "You're a dirty girl.
You're a
a
dirty
dirty girl."
girl.
My wife will be, "What the fuck are you saying?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it, baby. You don't get it."
Yeah,
Like
you had
to
to
this
be there.
day, yeah, you
Yeah.
really had to be there.
Put your belly on him.
Yeah. Oh my
Gotta
god.
put your belly on him.
Yeah, big black security. Him and I forget the other dude's name, but like, God, what a time.
They were so good. Oh, it
What
was
a
a cousin?
time. I think it was. You know, at least a play cousin.
Yeah, well,
Definitely a play cousin. But I think they
were.
actually were.
They
related.
grew up in the same neighborhood. As
They're not like
us.
us, actual
Yeah,
cousins.
not like
Yeah,
that,
like
not
yeah.
us. No,
No,
just,
they were
you know.
they were kayfabe.
Yeah.
cousins.
Right.
What a time, man! What a time.
It was a great time. It was a great time indeed. And yeah, episode 39. Year into the show now. Busy time. We're heading Mania season. But
Year in. We should clarify you said year in, not urine.
urine
To the show now.
urine.
Just,
No.
Just
Nah.
to clarify.
No, year in.
1 year in.
Urine,
not,
urine,
Not
urine.
urine.
Drink it because it tastes good.
Yeah, because it's sterile and I like the taste. Busy week. AEW had a big pay-per-view.
Yeah.
They call it
Yep.
pay-per-view.
They're still pay-per-view because you got to actually pay for each one.
Yeah. First
Sunday.
pay-per-view
Still-
on Prime.
Still a lot of money.
Really, I went to Prime hoping I was going to see like $29.99.
Oh, no,
$49.99,
it's
folks. Still $50.
Allegedly, the only discounted one is going to be whenever they start doing them on Max.
Okay, well
Which I
that
think
yeah, well,
might-
$49.99.
Yeah,
That's what the
right.
discount.
That's what it is now. So that'll be $49.95.
$49.98.
Yeah, 95.
Right.
With shipping and handling.
Right. Exactly.
Somehow.
Yeah.
A service fee, as Ticketmaster
Yeah.
would like to say. Fuck you servicing. It's a website.
But I think the Max. So they've announced it is later this year they'll start streaming on Max. My guess is that's going to be all in. That's gonna be the first one on Max.
That makes sense. Is there a location yet for All In? They going overseas again?
Texas.
Oh, that's right. Globe Life.
Stadium.
Yeah, the one they can't sell any tickets.
Tejas.
Right.
Chris Jericho said, "Don't worry about it," so I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah, I really hope they sell it out.
That means you should worry about it.
I really hope he's gone by then.
Same.
But that's not going to happen.
No, hell no. You
He
kidding
just
me?
did a whole nother character arc yesterday or Saturday.
He just
And
Sunday. Jesus
character
Christ.
arc.
I know.
But it's the same thing. He just
no.
calls it different.
Not much
now.
of an arc.
yeah.
His characters have been exactly the same for like
Just different
20 years
versions
now.
of it?
Just- yeah.
It's a character boomerang.
He just calls it something else now.
He just draws a little mustache on it.
Right.
You know, gets one of
Yeah,
those.
he literally puts his hair in a ponytail.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
and then everybody, and then all
mascara,
the support like this dude knows
Look
how
at
to
this
reinvent
guy.
himself.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Sure.
God.
How much you pay for that?
Exactly. Yeah.
Jericho.
Hey, man.
Sunday pay-per-views also.
Fuck
Yeah.
that.
Reminder, like, I hate them.
Yeah.
I'm
Sunday
like, how did we
pay-per-view.
do it for so long?
And then on the Sunday that we had to set the clock back
Yes.
too. Like, come on, AEW.
A setup. That's
your
why
fucking
I only
shit
made it
together.
through half the show.
I get
I
that.
literally, and I'm so glad I did it. The last match I watched was the Hollywood ending match.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm going to bed on this. I need a cigarette and I'm going to bed.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's where I was at that point.
What
Oh,
should have been the actual main
should have
event.
been the main event. Absolutely.
Especially they put at the end of the
Absolutely.
match on the Trons, they
The
put
end.
the end.
The
Why
end.
would you not want that
Right.
as your closing
Come on.
shot of the show?
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Right. Not the end, actually.
It's 4 more hours.
Yeah.
It's
it
intermission.
Sure as shit felt like that with the main event.
Yeah.
Boy, was that a rough main event.
Which we kind of called.
Yes.
We kind of
Yeah.
said that
Yeah.
going into it. We were kind of like, this is the one we care about the least.
Mm-hmm.
And even
And-
the Dynamite last week leading into it, I felt nothing.
Anything involving them. And like,
Yeah.
I like Edge, right?
Yeah.
I think we
Cope.
all do. Cope.
You mean you
Exactly.
like
Well,
Cope?
no, I
Cope,
like
bro.
Edge. I don't like Cope.
Which,
Yeah.
by the way, there's definitely still saying
I don't
Cope.
like
They
Cope.
are
No,
absolutely
it's so
still saying
bad. But
Cope.
his name, I don't get it. It's like the
No.
artist formerly known as Edge, Adam Copeland /
Rated R
Cope
superstar,
/
Adam Copeland
Yeah,
Cope.
like it's so
Copium.
bad the way they do it. And then Mox and this whole Death Riders thing, they've lost me. They
Yeah.
lost me a while ago.
It was interesting
I want
to
to root
start.
for Mark. It was. Like I really thought some sort of invasion angle that would have ended well. They've lost the plot already. Not surprising. Still don't know what the fuck's in that briefcase.
a new version of
Yes,
the belt.
it's
Yeah.
like when are you gonna show it?
When Darby Allin beats them at all in.
yeah,
It's just
it's
gonna
just
be
like get
barbed
to it,
wire.
man.
It's just
Maybe.
going to be
Imagine.
like, no belt loops or anything, or like the buckles. It's just going to be like barbed wire sticking to your skin.
Yeah.
That's some mock
So
shit right
bad.
there.
Well, also Darby Allin shit. And he's going to be
yeah,
the one
that's
who
what I'm
beats
saying. Like,
Moxley for it.
past
Yeah, so that was the main. I guess we can start with the main event since it was even in hindsight what I enjoyed the
can.
least. I think what
Same.
most folks, Moxley and Cope, 1-on-1, actually a 1-on-1 because Cope in the last
For a
couple
while.
weeks has destroyed everybody in the Death Riders with
Yeah.
a nice little concerto. Shout out to Willow who even helped with that. But then of course Willie Uter, and I'm not gonna lie, for a second I thought, is Wheeler gonna do the right thing?
Yeah, but they didn't.
Because they've been teasing it.
They've been
leading up to it,
teasing
they
it,
had teased it.
But then they rushed that spot. So
Yeah.
because they
Well,
they didn't
AEW.
give it time to be like,
AEW.
ooh, who is it going to be? It was just like
Yeah.
he shows up
Here
and then
he is.
immediately hits Cope.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right.
I knew that was going to
kind of a
happen.
waste of time.
As soon as I saw that last week on Dynamite, I'm like, there's not.
Because
he's not
they
actually
teased
turning.
it
Yeah,
as
they
if it
teased
was
it,
going
yeah.
to
Right.
happen. Yeah,
But
so
like,
that was
I agree. It was obvious he wasn't
Yeah.
going to do it, but like extend the tease. Don't
Yep.
just immediately have him hit the ring and it's right after
and
Cope.
those are the things that AEW lacks. Like
Yeah.
that's where they lack. That's where
Psychology.
a production meeting maybe
Yeah.
would be nice. You're in year 5, you still don't have production meetings. That shit blows my mind. And
Yeah.
I've heard so many former wrestlers, especially those who have podcasts, are like, yes, the production meeting isn't for the talent. It is for the cameramen. It is for the bookers. It is for the refs. It is for all the people who need to connect all of the dots to make things memorable. And they use the example of like the shot of the shot of Cena and Rock. Like, if you didn't have a production meeting, how is the cameraman
Yep.
going to know where to be to get
And
that
they made
shot?
merch out
Or
of it.
this
Yep.
Monday, the shot of Rollins before Roman pulls him out. Like, that's why you need to have these things, and that's where AEW continually shoots himself in the foot.
Yeah.
The details.
yeah.
I just don't understand what I mean. Is it a scheduling thing? Is it because they're saying like, oh, hey, we're very lenient with the schedule. We don't want to
Yeah.
have you in all these extra production meetings and
It
whatever.
sounds like, from what I've heard, and there's no validity to this, so I can't say it, but it sounds like the show gets figured out as the show's going on.
Yeah.
Right.
So like the last segment might not be figured out until an hour into the show.
Right.
And like that is terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've never been in the wrestling business. I can tell you, in any business that doesn't make sense, that's not going to lead to good outcomes.
Right.
Doesn't matter what you're doing. So like
to an
that's
extent, you need to have the majority of what you want to,
Yeah.
especially for the television audience, for what you want us to see.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, and if you're not pre-planning any of that stuff and just kind of winging it,
Yeah.
or like saying like, hey man, you're gonna go do this, and pat them on the ass and send them
Yeah.
on their way.
and you can always feel it in commentary.
Yeah.
When they
Yeah.
never know what's next. They never know if it's a graphic. Am I throwing it backstage? Who am I throwing it to? They
Poor
always
JR
stumble
used to
over
get
that.
so fucking
And you
twisted.
see it now with Excalibur and Tony and all of them. Where it's like no one knows what happens next.
Right.
Like,
Or you have an instance where you didn't have a production meeting, so you cut to Christopher Daniels punching
still
himself in the
blading
head.
himself.
still.
Like it's
Like,
just that's where they kill themselves. The little
Yeah.
things, and it sucks. It takes away from. Overall, it was a good pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like that match ended again. Christian running finally signs a
Thank
contract.
God.
Doesn't get it, goes to waste.
Right.
Which I'm glad it was off him because he was never going to win.
No.
So
He shouldn't have been the one that won that thing in the
Nor
first
did
place.
he use it in any sort of effective way
Right.
while he had it.
It was just to screw over Cope.
Yeah, it was a shit show. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was the main event, which should have probably been on 0 Hour. That should have gone before Big Boom AJ came
Yeah,
out and
probably.
fucking did what he did. If we're
Yeah.
being honest, the
I mean,
pop was probably better for that.
I get you're gonna obviously
Yeah,
put
it's
it
a
on the
world
main
champ.
card.
Yeah,
but
I
like
understand.
honestly,
But-
they should have flipped the spot of that and Tony Storm or Mariah May.
Yeah.
But that match where Tony Storm was, put the women's
Yep.
match in the main event.
I agree.
And not to mention with how meta that feud was with them having the beef at the opening night for the red carpet for the
Right.
movie. with
Yes.
Queen of the Ring.
Yep.
Yeah.
Queen of the Ring, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Queen of the Ring.
And how certain reporters didn't know that was a fucking work.
Right.
And like
Yeah.
that to me is like, okay, that's clearly your biggest story you have in your company right now.
far.
Yeah.
It's
And
been a
it was
what, 2-year build?
Right. It's been
Yeah.
the most well done. They have incredible chemistry to the point where like you're working the fuck out of people that are not in the know. And
They can seamlessly play one another.
Yeah.
they really could.
They've-
And you don't end the show on that.
Right.
It gave big like WrestleMania 18 vibes when you still had to end the night with
Yeah.
Triple H and Chris Jericho.
Yep.
Right.
It was
Yep.
like,
Right.
You know, you should have ended it with Rocky
Yeah.
Hogan.
Yep.
It's what it. Yeah.
No,
again,
it made
it's just
no
little-
sense.
it's the
Again,
little
you mentioned the
things.
graphic, the end, everything they
Yeah.
said all night. All they did was push Queen of the Ring.
Yep.
Backstage segments, all these things. So why wouldn't you want to end the show with the two women?
Yeah.
Like it just there's so many reasons
That-
to do it that were layup.
That awkward interview segment they
Yeah,
did with
that
the
was
actresses
so
and
weird
the director.
with that dude.
Oh,
That was so
that
fucking weird.
Rough.
It was just yeah.
And then also on top of that, it is the WrestleMania 18 thing where it's the best story going in. It's also the WrestleMania 25 thing where it was clearly the match of the
Yep.
night.
Oh, yeah.
Like Michael's Taker was, and you didn't close with
Yep.
it. And now
Everything
the rest
gets-
of the card's
yeah.
got to
No,
follow
and
that.
that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like the storyline and everything goes, but the wrestling was amazing.
So good.
The wrestling was so good. It was clean.
Like-
Like you said, the chemistry between the two of them, it was seamless. There wasn't any mistakes. Even the blood. And it was like you could see on Toni Storm's face, she was like, uh-oh, I think I'm bleeding a little too much
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And like she was a champ. Same thing with Mariah. They didn't skip a beat, but also that little bit of concern on their faces made it so much better and more
Yeah.
realistic where you can completely get sucked into it. It was just so well done from beginning to end. The ending, I mean, the pin on the ramp, her literally collapsing on top of her
Yeah.
as it ends. It's like as you said, there's no better way to fade to black and go out from
Cinema.
Yeah, absolutely. It really was
Yeah.
cinema.
That's literally
and they
that gif.
just fucked it. Like that match to me currently. I mean, there's a lot of time left for it to be top, but that's my match of the year right now.
Yeah, I'm not mad
I
at
mean,
that.
as
Like,
far
I'm
as
not mad
like
at that.
everything all in one, including the storyline,
Yep.
and how long it was built to be that way, and it really just hit on every mark. You know, it didn't disappoint at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue that a few months in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
So-
great. Yeah, like we said, it's beginning of March. There's plenty of time for another
Yeah.
match to come along and top it. But at the moment,
But we've seen Rumble in
Yep.
Elimination Chamber and other things from AEW. We've seen so many, even on that same card. You think of like
Yeah.
Fletcher and Ospreay and some of the other
Yeah.
matches that have gone down. Like, like that is the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
Those two women fucking tore the house down.
Yeah. Also, the other bad thing about the main event. All right, fine. You didn't close with the women's match, even though they should have. But then you had Omega Takeshita.
Yeah,
Great match
another
after
great
that. A
match.
phenomenal steel cage
Yep.
match. You had 3 incredible matches, and then just that dud of a main event.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of people call it the worst AEW main event of all time,
Which is
And,
saying
like,
some things.
No,
I-
that's
saying
it
some
might
things.
be though.
Omega and Mox. That's
So here's why I can't
the
agree with that.
explosion match, whatever the fuck it was. That's gotta be.
That actual moment, 100% agree. But that match is actually a really good match before
It
the
was,
lackluster
and- I have to
moment.
go back and watch
Nothing
it.
about this main event was good.
No, it wasn't.
This has
from
no
beginning
redeeming
to end,
quality.
Yeah,
It was-
nothing was from beginning to end. I didn't think it was really
No,
good.
there wasn't. This match was terrible.
But
And I feel bad saying that because, like you, I liked
Yeah.
Edge. I liked Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
But I even liked Moxley his first few years in AEW.
Yes,
But,
yeah.
like, it was so bad.
The beginning
Yeah.
of this angle, I was like, okay, this is how you use Moxley.
Right.
So quickly. It
Yeah.
turned.
yeah, no,
They-
the Death Rider. Like when they first
Yeah.
started that, it felt
I was excited
cool,
about it.
you know,
Yeah.
and even some of the ways that they would end Collision. They ended a couple
Collision.
times with like they like kidnapped somebody or whatever, and they fucked around with the camera crew and it cut to black and that was it. Shit like that, like it's cool, you know. And then it just went.
And then they did it every week.
Yeah,
for the last 4 months.
And then
it's just like
coke kept popping up out of the back of ambulances, and it was always
like
the
you
same
don't have
shit.
to watch. Sadly, the last 6 months, you don't have to watch the last 20 minutes of Dynamite. You know what it's going to be. You know, you can call it minute for minute, throughout the whole segment. You know how it's going to end. Which
also really sucks because besides anything John Moxley, I think AEW is really turning a corner.
Oh, yeah.
Everything else is really good except for their main event stuff.
Ospreay did an interview, I think it was with Chris Van Vliet. Shout out to him. We mention him every fucking episode. But he's just he interviews everybody.
And he's so good at it.
And he's so good. Talking about how he's been staying with AEW, why he's at AEW, why he likes to be able to be home with his children on the weekends, and the schedule, and the offer even financially I think was better overall, and he's just happy there, and just how good the weekly television has been. Like it's been good.
It has.
You know, it's been consistent. You have, outside of the obvious mess between Mox and Cope, which we weren't into. We talked about it. Everything else has been pretty solid. Like there's really nothing. There's not really a time where I'm like, let me tune out. You know?
Yeah.
So
no, in the matchmaking, I think is where they've gotten it right. Like Hangman and MJF, shit. Like that's you're printing money with those guys, right? Like Fletcher and Ospreay, we talked about it. That story and how personal that is, and like that's what made to me, even that match for me, like that emotion at the end, when he fucking is like, I hate you, right before the hidden blade, like that's what made that match. The emotion, everything goes into it. Their stars, like even a Megan Bain, who like has come out of nowhere and has taken over, and she's up next for Tony and shows how dominant she is. Like the women have been positioned well, the men have been positioned well, new talent has gotten good opportunities. Like they've been doing things well, and it sucks because it's the small little things, the lack of attention to detail, or in those big moments when you're really supposed to shine, that they leave it, things to be desired, is what still I think keeps them, for a lot of people in that frame of mind, are like, okay, well they're little brother, they're always going to be little brother. And I think we've talked about it financially in other ways, or just WWE's been around forever, like they're gonna, but there's been moments in the past over the last 5 years where I've preferred to tune in to AEW than WWE.
Yeah. And at the time now,
especially
when AEW first began,
that was it's harder to say that now.
This is a breath of fresh air. They had a weird phase, but I think things have been good. A lot of the feuds, I mean, think about the feuds you just listed off. Like, those are like all like
main
those
event.
are like match made in heaven.
Swerve and Ricochet.
Another one. Ricochet was another. Like,
storytelling there has been amazing.
All of the stories and all of they were just perfectly paired. Like the feuds were all perfectly paired outside of the main event. You know what I mean? So yeah, and you got that. You got a good show. Good for them. I feel like they needed that. They needed a W on a pay-per-view, where like the week is spent talking about like positivity for them. And so do you guys want to talk MJF and
Well, I was just going to say real quick, my hope for the main event is that Swerve freshens it up. Now that they're going to do Moxley Swerve, I'm really hoping they go more the Swerve side of storytelling as opposed to the Moxley side. Especially when they come to the actual match. Because Moxley's matches lately have been shit.
I don't know. I don't have high hopes.
But Swerves have been incredible. So like, hopefully, exactly.
I think they're too invested.
And Mox is so much better.
No,
than
they are.
We've seen Mox do more. We know what he can do.
Right.
So I think that's the difficult part. It's like I don't know who's cutting him off at the knees. Is it him? Is it creative? Like,
it's this version of him.
It's just
it's this version of him.
It sucks,
a different.
Man.
He's working different. You know what I mean? Because he's like a cult leader.
Right. And I'm not going to say he is. I have no idea if he is or isn't. But he almost comes across as he's checked out right now.
He's coasting. Yeah. 100%.
Like 100%. He almost feels like, look, I've given up a lot of vacation time for you guys, so fuck it. I'm just going to
he has. I mean, he carried that mother. He carried that fucking place, man.
Yeah.
I remember when they took the belt off him, I had to put it right back on because people got hurt. Like, he's carried that motherfucker for long times.
Yeah.
And I wonder, and it's also like his on-screen disposition, but I wonder how much of that is off-screen. He looks like he can get fed up pretty quickly.
Yes.
And you can't just walk out and go back to fucking Stanford. So all you can really do is check out until
I'm sure he could.
Check out until it's time for you to be able to do that.
Do you guys remember the interview he did with Steve Austin on the WWE Network and how awkward that was? It feels like that interview is currently his character right now. Like he didn't give a shit about that interview, and he feels like he doesn't give a shit right now.
Even with Austin, and he he did not want to do that.
No,
and he didn't want to really talk about like anything about his life, which like it just was an interesting. It almost felt like a work.
Yeah,
because it was so awkward. Some of those interviews most of them were good.
Most of them were good. Some were bad. That one also almost felt like they were trying, like you said, it was like a work. Like maybe they were trying to get an angle out of it and get to an Austin Ambrose match.
But he didn't really talk much about like his childhood.
No, he didn't want to get into it.
He didn't want to talk about any of that stuff.
And that seems like that could just be him as a human being, right?
Absolutely. He
but
does
like,
seem like a private
there
person.
is certain parts now where I'm like, I don't know, when's his contract up?
Right.
You know, like, because I think we even talked about like, what does he look? He's looking at with Seth and Roman and these. He's like, I'm sure he's thinking, what if?
Punk.
I'm sure I'm sure he's thinking, what if? And Cody, right? Like the people who left, and fucking even a Ricky Saints and All Ego who are positioned well and getting more love. Like it's a shame because we know what he can do.
Yeah.
And think about, if nothing else, if you want to chase that one last bag, they're gonna throw it at him for that Shield triple threat possibility,
or even just a quick reunion of them,
or something. You know, that's
just to make new Shield merch. They want to do that badly.
Oh my God! Of course they do.
So especially you think of like in a year from now when Cena's gone, like that void in merch sales and money. It's like, okay, what now comes and buoys that back up? Like obviously there's ways they can go and things they can do, but like that shit'll sell. Like oh my God, like hotcakes.
I mean, I looked this up because
I'd have the vest on in the summer, no shirt, like I'm 50.
Right.
I would do it.
Hell yeah.
Right. I remember we had our disagreement back a couple weeks ago about Cena winning. It came up with like what was his merch sale. So I ended up out of curiosity looking it up. He was number 5 last year for merch sales. Still.
Wow.
And he was barely there. So like so that's going to be a big loss when he actually
makes sense.
leaves.
Like just now they turn heel, but I got the WWE email with the whole line of merch for Brussels, and I'm sure every stop's going to have a whole different line because those people in those places are like, wow, this is the last and maybe only time I can ever have a Cena shirt that says Brussels on it. Like. Yeah, the money's going to come out hand in fist.
It is interesting they're still making those.
I know. I was thinking the same. I was thinking, these are going to look different. They don't. It's still the same salute. Everything looks the same. But that's
still
why
green.
it's like,
absolutely.
Because they know people are going to buy it.
Right.
They don't give a fuck.
And also they know he's going to be a face again soon.
Right.
So
oh yeah.
It's like,
I'm not saying they're wrong for doing it. I'm saying it's just an interesting choice.
Because like you mentioned the Wrestling is Real shirt, and I'm like, okay, are they going to go different, more edgy, more, because I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Because we've never seen it.
Same.
But
think about what you just said. A shirt being sold in WWE shop
Wrestling is
with
real.
the words wrestling
right there. Just stop right there.
Yeah, just wrestling.
They removed that from the company.
Literally. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I bought the shirt, because it's it was a collaboration with Travis Scott and Cactus Jack. It was obviously a little bit more pricey than their typical t-shirts. But it was a unique piece.
cheaper than a typical Travis Scott t-shirt.
Definitely a lot cheaper than a typical
So
Travis.
there's that.
Yeah. They still made it somewhat affordable. But again, it just felt like and that's a cool conversation piece shirt. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that, like the
Exactly.
hoodie you're wearing right now.
That is actually a dope hoodie.
Yeah.
Yes. Gotta love it.
Yeah. I shout out to our boy Cam because I saw him rocking that
Yeah,
on his
yeah.
Instagram story the other day.
Black Wrestling Pod.
Yeah.
Shout out to them. They do amazing stuff. This was obviously so clutch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a conversational piece, you know what I mean? Because like, wearing wrestling shirts out, you'll run into other wrestling fans and they know what the hell's on your shirt. But just wearing a shirt that straight up says wrestling is real with on the back Cena rocking Travis Scott just looking cool as hell.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
interested.
I thought about it.
Combos.
Obviously, like we talked about how frustrating that last image was for me, but in my head, I'm like, I can get that shirt, and if I just wear a jacket, nobody will see the back,
right?
So it wouldn't
But
matter
it is
anyway.
kind of, it's kind of.
But it is though. It is still. It is
cool,
dope. It is still dope. And again, like conversation piece, especially I think, and I'm one of those people who fucking, and my wife hates this about me. I'll buy an article of clothing and I might not wear it for years.
Yeah.
Like I'm just weird like that. But I like that because that's a shirt you can have on 10, 15, 20 years from now
remember
and
this.
have a conversation.
It was a moment.
Like you can be talking young, old, man, woman. It doesn't matter. You can have a conversation piece just because of something like that. As simple as just wrestling is real. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is obviously such like a polarizing thing to say in general because everybody's like, it's not real, right?
Yep.
Right.
People, the fact that people still say that shit, it's like, no,
and then that's when you open your phone and say, okay, the image on the back left Cody's face looking like this.
Yeah,
this isn't real. This
Yeah.
black
Busted
eye
drip.
and busted eardrum isn't real.
Seriously, fuck. It's just whatever. Anyways, thankfully those are few and far between.
Whenever people say that to me, I'm like, yeah, movies aren't real either.
know.
I
Yeah,
fucking
so
love
TV
those.
shows
So
are real.
like,
I know.
So are the reality television
Yep.
shit
Right.
that you watch.
Yep.
And that's,
Like-
guess what? They're
Or
terrible
any
actors.
fucking reel you watch on your Instagram, like these bloopers
Right.
in stores and what these people do and reactions. None of that shit is real. So like, but it's entertaining some people. Good for you. Like,
right.
One of my favorite combos recently with like this huge boost in pop culture with wrestling and stuff like that is when people in my life, family members, whatever, would be like, "Oh, that many people watch wrestling," and I'm like, "Yeah, Netflix just spent
millions and millions of people
$5
watch
billion to own Monday Night Raw for 10 years."
Yep. which could end up even being longer.
Exactly, which probably
For more
will.
money, but still.
You know, WrestleMania, they sold out an NFL stadium 2 nights in a row for an event. So like,
And they've done that 3 years in a row.
exactly.
Now, too.
So I always love that part of it, because then they're like, holy shit, and then it kind of opens up their eyes to be like, what am I missing?
Right.
Yeah,
You know what I mean, like maybe I should check this out. And I've had a few people be like, oh, that was actually
And I remember when Bad Bunny was like, when he first popped up, or when he was training, talking to so many people, because that was at, you know, the height of Bad. I mean, we're still in the height of Bad Bunny, but that's when
That
he
was
was
like,
really, really
yeah.
like top of the world peak for
Mainstream,
everybody.
yeah.
Had kind of burst on the scene, had been around a little bit, established himself, but people were still getting to love him. And I was like, yeah, he's canceling his tour because he's gonna go train to wrestle. And so I remember some people like, what? He's gonna not tour to go, you know, hang out in a ring and then roll around with some people? Like, yes, because that's how important and big it was. He was like, fuck this tour, fuck these millions, I'll shelf them because I want to go do this.
Right.
This is just more important and fulfilling to me. Sounds like Travis Scott is doing the exact same thing right now, according to reports. He's training and wrestling, and
He said he
we
was
saw
getting
that
rings
little
built,
backstage
yeah.
clip of him and Triple H after the moment, where you could see how hyped up he was. So like, yeah, there's people who are stars in whatever their business is who are like, yeah, no, I'm gonna put this shit on hold in my livelihood because I want to go do this thing because it's so
I mean,
cool.
just hate
Yeah,
him. You can hate him all you want, but he
Yeah.
did commit. You know, he did commit to being a superstar.
Fucking Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
Pat McAfee.
He got a whole career out of it. Second career out of it.
yeah, even
Third
like even
career.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like-
How
and
many
even
careers?
like think of the Joe Tessa tours and the
Right.
Moros and the people who've been so established in other realms were like, no, this is still a childhood dream or an adult dream or whatever, or I know how lucrative and how many doors it'll open. You can't deny it. You can't. You would be naive.
Pete Rosenberg.
Yeah,
you
you
know
would
what I
be
mean?
naive and also just a bit of a dick to deny it. Like that's me saying like, oh, you like musicals? Like what?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, exactly,
no,
yeah.
cool. Like the term I've heard a lot. Like I don't know if I like it or not. It's like don't yuck my yum.
Yeah, don't yuck my yum.
If I like it, who gives a fuck if you
Right,
like it? If you
yeah.
like it, good for you. If it ain't hurting nobody, go for it.
I'm so
That's-
thankful that I used to be a lot different with that
Other people's
especially, like-
enjoyment of stuff.
No, not so much other people's enjoyment.
I used
but
to
it was,
suppress my enjoyment of wrestling because it was
Same.
like so
Oh, yeah,
much of
yeah, oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, we can't have this conversation at the dinner table, whatever place, because it didn't feel like it was relatable. This, that, and the other. And it's like now, I'll
or
have a
just straight
conversation
up
about
wasn't
wrestling.
cool.
Yeah,
like people will be like,
I'll have a wrestling
okay.
conversation anywhere
I'll
now.
talk to anybody. Yeah, I got.
Yeah, I'm
It's-
in line at the DMV. I'm in the fucking emergency room waiting room. I'm at a golf event. I don't care where I am. Let's talk wrestling.
Yeah.
Like,
You ever see the Jim Gaffigan stand up old one where he talks about like eating McDonald's? You ever see that one where he's like, nobody wants to admit that they eat McDonald's.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like then you like say like, oh, I had nothing else. I had to stop in and get like
Yeah.
a burger or something. And then the other person will realize that you ate McDonald's, and all of a sudden
Yeah,
they're like,
yeah, I had to do
oh
the
yeah,
same
yeah,
thing
yeah, I had
yesterday,
some
yeah.
nuggets, but I hadn't had it in years. Then it opens up a conversation of like, yeah, I go twice a week.
Yep.
That's wrestling.
Yeah, you don't serve billions of burgers without fucking a lot of people
Right.
going.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it's just, yeah, it is.
So it's like
True.
it's that when you see another wrestling fan and you do like the inching. I think
Yep.
we did
Yeah,
the first interaction we had.
Yeah,
We were like,
we were golfing.
we were golfing, and
We
I
were
was like,
golfing.
yeah,
Yep.
me and my boys.
And
like,
ironically enough, 3 of the 4 of us golfing, huge wrestling fans.
That's right.
None of us knew that going into it.
I know.
It's just
but it was so funny how we're doing a wrestling podcast now, and
Yep.
yeah, that's just kind of how it all begins.
everything is pro wrestling.
Everything is pro wrestling.
Sorry, I have to look at the recording, how long we've been talking here. Anything else from Revolution?
The one you were going to talk about, MJF Hangman,
Yeah.
killer
Yeah.
opener.
So good.
That match
Yep.
was fucking great.
Love that it opened.
Yeah, same.
Love that it opened.
If you were going to end on
Yep.
shit, you might as well end
Yeah.
on. I
Love
mean,
that it
you
opened.
hot.
You weren't going to start with Tony Storm and
No,
Ryan May, so
that'd be the worst way to start,
Yeah.
especially with the way that
Yeah.
show ended. That was too good of a start.
yeah.
Hell of a match.
Swerve Ricochet was great.
Yep.
Now I'm trying to remember what else was even on the card.
You mentioned Takeshita and
Takeshita
Omega
Omega
was
was
awesome
really,
as
really
well.
Osprey.
Hurt, did we
Osprey, yeah,
have?
that was
we had
excellent.
Outrunners in Hurt Syndicate.
Yeah, that was
which was
fine.
Yeah,
It was
it was
just-
what it was going to
exactly.
be. It was what it was intended to be. I don't think anybody except for maybe the Outrunners parents thought they were going to win.
Right.
But they did their job.
Yeah.
and it looked good. And I mean, Hurt Syndicate, like they're fucking money.
Yeah.
They
Yep.
themselves, I think, have just elevated everything about AEW.
Yeah.
The way they carry, and I know it's easy to say, well, they come from WWE and that's fine, but whatever. But like they've elevated every aspect of the show.
Oh yeah,
and just made it looks cleaner, more professional. The way they don't miss a beat, they don't miss anything. It looks good. It everything, even the backstage segments, like the little thing they had with MJF and MVP on Wednesday. Like they're so good that I think they're realizing we can position these guys anywhere on the card, up and down. And naturally, we know at some point Lashley will probably have a singles run. Benjamin will also probably have a singles run. Who the fuck knows if MVP is going to get back in the ring again? Like it's just really good shit with those guys.
Yeah. This is going to feel like a weird thing to say given the conversation we just had about wrestling is real, but they feel legit.
Oh, they do.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they feel
do.
100% legit, and they make everything feel bigger because of that.
No, they fucking lay it in, and it's stiff and it's safe,
Yeah.
and it's how you should work.
Yep.
Even the theme song with fucking West Side Gun, we hurt people. So simple, but so
Yeah.
catchy.
Yep.
Easy for everyone to sing along with. Like, and you can tell that's all intentional.
Yeah.
Like they know what buttons to push at this point. They're past veterans. They've been in this game combined like 60 to 75 years. The
I
three of them.
actually saw a video the other day of MVP making a debut in TNA back in like 2003.
Yeah.
So like he's been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
And Sheldon came up in 02. He's the forgotten one of that.
Lashley wasn't
great
that far
02
behind.
class. No,
What was he
Lashley
like?
like? 06,
2005,
07?
4 or
Yeah,
5, somewhere around
06,
there. Because 07 is when he's
Is when he
ECW
won
champion.
champ. Yeah. Yep.
So I think he's like mid to late 05 he debuts and just goes on a
And he looks exactly the same.
He looks
I know.
exactly
No,
the same.
Literally exactly
None.
the same.
Like
Hasn't aged a
Nope.
bit.
No.
Just
does,
as yoked.
Weirdly, so does Shelton and MVP.
Yeah, I
they
know.
all look
I know, they
exactly
do.
the same.
Yeah. They age well.
Yeah, they do.
Just these guys like Bobby Lashley. Who's another one? And you know I got to give credit to? I got to give credit to Jeff Hardy. He looks healthy.
No,
Yeah,
he does.
absolutely.
He does.
Because
does.
like when he showed up on NXT the other day, and even like his last WWE run, he was kind of like, and he had issues after that. Then went
Just
back
run down.
with-
Just
when they went
raggedy.
to AEW, it was kind
No,
of
he
like,
does.
And then he had his issues there with homeboy that Sammy Guevara.
Yeah.
When they
Yeah.
did that spot that he
Yep.
got concussed or
That
whatever.
was a nasty spot.
And then next thing you know, they're TNA and they're popping up on NXT. He looked good
Yeah.
and like happy.
He does.
Clean.
He looks like he's eating well,
Yeah.
taking
I've
care
seen
of
him
his
doing
body.
TikToks with his daughter, which is like awesome.
He's
Like
probably
he's
like
good,
having
spirited.
some sea moss and some like
Yeah.
stuff that's good for the body. You can see like
I
he
thought
looks
you were
more
just
lively.
about to say semen.
No,
I don't know
I
why.
mean, maybe he does.
Maybe that
I don't
good
know.
for him.
You said
I'm not
sea
gonna-
moss.
If that's what's revitalized
Right.
his
You know
career,
what?
Yeah,
knock yourself out,
whatever.
Jeff. Not mad at
Be
it.
like
Good
the
for
Like
episode
you
of
just
South
said,
Park.
to each their own, man.
Good for you, brother.
Cartman,
Yeah.
see people when you had to. How'd you get all these semen? All I do is close my eyes and suck it out of a hose.
Oh, I was
that
thinking
those?
more of the fake Gatorade one. When all of a sudden Randy drink, they all keep drinking it. Then it's like some energy drink, and then Randy drink. This is cum.
Randy Marsh is
Best character.
one of the
in
greatest TV
South Park.
characters in history.
Yes, so good.
The show will never not be perfect.
No, it's so
Yeah.
good. So, any last thoughts on Revolution before we?
It unfortunately went exactly like I thought it was. Great undercard with a terrible main event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But definitely, even with all that, if you haven't watched it, worth a watch.
Yeah,
Just
it is.
stop
It's worth
before
it is
the
worth
main
a
event.
watch. It's worth a watch. It led to I thought was a decent Dynamite this week.
Yeah.
Not great, just because I think similar to the way the show ended on Sunday. That's how I felt about Wednesday, but there was really good spots on Wednesday. I love that MJF's back to being MJF.
Yeah.
And I also love that they're teasing, like even like MVP said and the others are like, no, this isn't you. Like you are a man of the people, like trying to convince him that he is, and he's not. And I love that they're leaning into that and making good stories out of it and just letting him be him. Like if you let him be him and you let Hangman be him, again, that could be your main event. That could be a build similar to what they did with him and Cole, in terms of how that can be stretched out and all the different days you can weave in and out of that. Such good shit. Yeah, I think they're in a good spot, man.
Yeah.
They are.
They just need to fix their main
Yeah,
event.
it's just the attention
That's
to details.
literally the only
man.
thing holding
little
it back,
things.
in my opinion, right now.
Fucking little things.
They would be back, I think, to close to that like 2019 era AEW right now.
Because they got the
main
talent,
event was
man.
better.
They got the talent.
absolutely
They do.
And
And
they're interchangeable. Like you could put people feuding with, with
yeah.
everybody. It's not like this person won't work well with this one or whatever. So I'm curious to see where Tony Storm and Mariah may go now, though.
Yeah, especially Mariah.
Especially
Because obviously now Tony with the belt. It looks like Megan May might be the next one, but
Yeah.
if not, she's the promo she cut was great before she run in. But like, yeah, I wonder what they do with Mariah May, because she could be like, I don't think they'll do it, but like, I would love for her to go take a belt off Mercedes.
Yes.
I don't think it's gonna happen, but
No.
she might have 8 belts before she loses one.
Yeah.
She took a nasty. Did you see her bruise?
Yeah.
That was pretty nasty and gnarly.
So that's Revolution.
Yeah.
Shout out to AEW.
Good show.
Yeah.
Good
Good
show.
show.
They needed a W.
Yeah.
Over to the Federation. Busy week, somewhat. SmackDown, forgettable because we can't really think of it.
No,
It's
no.
also a week out, so I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. It was a week ago.
That
Yeah.
was weeks ago, motherfucker.
Man.
I
Yeah.
really honestly
I
don't
remember
remember.
That clock change just fucked with my memory. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
know
what happened.
Orton was there.
Orton was there.
was there.
Had a good promo.
Orton, here's a who.
to start
Yep.
the show. Good promo to start the show.
Yeah. Talk shit about Cena and The
Yep.
Rock.
Yep.
And then I remember
Oh, Jade.
Bianca
beat
called
shit.
Naomi a
Yep.
bitch.
Yeah,
cool.
that
And
was
then-
good.
And then Jade came and beat her
I
up.
will say, like, the emotion with just Bianca and Naomi, like, and I was watching that part of my wife too, and like, it felt in some ways, and this is in no way a slight or disrespect, it felt like Real Housewives or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
or fucking Bad Girls Club or like one of these where like you really the emotion felt real.
Yeah.
Like the tears, the cracked voices, it felt good, it felt real, it felt emotional. Even like and everything Naomi's saying is very relatable. It's like like it was me and you, and then she comes in and now you're fucking with her, and she took all my star, my thunder, and all that. Like you could feel it. So that was cool the way they did it. Even just when Jade comes, the timing was perfect of her pulling up and her just going there, and Naomi literally just gesturing and like, go for it. I'm not
Yeah,
going to stop
right.
you. And then her just beating the brakes out of Naomi in whatever that outfit was. God bless it.
Yeah.
God bless it.
Oh, man.
Send one up. Shout out to
Yeah.
women.
It's going to be I'm hoping that they are. It's going to be interesting to see if they make that a Mania match.
I feel like it'll
Because they
be on
have
the
a
pre-show.
really hard time putting women's matches on pay-per-views that aren't for a
For a
title.
title.
Yeah.
And
Which is
put
kinda
them all in
ridiculous.
one,
I can
yeah.
see
Yeah.
it being a pre-show.
I could see that
To
too.
be honest.
Although maybe, or the SmackDown before. 'cause
Yeah,
they really don't put matches on pre-shows
Maybe that,
anymore.
like main
Yeah.
events or
There
co-main
really
events
is no
the night
pre-show. It's
before.
just 5 pretty much on,
Right.
on it.
It's
every
2
PLE.
hours of let's talk up this pay-per-view,
Yeah.
but no
Yeah.
fucking matches.
The
Yeah, I
SmackDown
don't
the
know.
night before would be fucking disrespectful, though.
Yeah, it would.
That would be
It absolutely
disrespectful.
would.
But I remember them
It's
doing it a
already
year ago.
disrespectful when they do the
Was it a
Battle Royals
tag
there.
title
Yeah.
match that they did it a year ago? There was a belt that changed the night before. I'm almost positive that's
I was
SmackDown the
there.
night before. We
And
were
I don't
both
remember-
there.
Oh, yeah, you were there too. That's
Wasn't
right, yeah.
there? I could have swore there was like a belt change or
So it
something
definitely
that was
wasn't the
Mania
tag titles
worthy.
because they did the ladder match to separate
That's
them.
right. What was
Maybe
it?
the women's tag
I
titles. 'cause
want to
don't
say
think
there
they
was
got
something.
defended.
Yeah, I want to say there was something, and it was. And I
Or
remember
one of
us
the
talking about it
mid-cards.
being like, yeah, they just couldn't fit them into the weekend.
Did they do a U.S.
There was
Oh,
some-
they did. They did the
Pretty
triple
sure there
threat
was
U.S.
a
title
belt
match.
that changed hands the night before just because there was no way to put it.
Right. Maybe it was the women's tag team.
I was there because
thought
the
there
Hall of Fame
was.
was right after.
I thought there was. Could be
Oh
wrong.
no, you know what it was? It was when The Rock got the belt from Muhammad Ali's
Wasn't there?
wife.
Right. But he got the people's
That was the night he got the
No,
belt.
I know it was. Yeah.
That was the night he got it. That was
Right.
where the belt you
But
were
he got it
thinking
at
of.
the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that was the
I
night.
wasn't at the Hall of Fame, so
Oh shit.
yeah.
Damn.
I had
don't
left.
remember. Honestly, I don't remember.
I left
I
after.
don't either.
I don't remember. I
Yeah.
was sitting up. I had media passes to that.
We all left. We didn't stay for.
I was so high up. Where they have the
Hall of
media.
Fame. Yeah, you were up there.
I don't know how
You
you
were
could
up
see.
there.
I couldn't see shit.
Because me and Walski were up there.
Yeah.
And we just grabbed whatever cheap tickets were hanging around.
And I was way above
20
you
minutes
guys.
before, and you were still above us.
I was above the fucking scoreboard.
We were eye level with it. Like,
They
we
almost were like, "Can you work the lights
we were
while I'm up
right.
there?" And
It's
I was like, "Fuck." I don't
is that Mike or Sting?
Yeah.
Who's
Yeah.
that?
I was just sitting in the rafters with a baseball bat. They're like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah,
guy doing?
because we left. We didn't stay because we were just fucking tired. We
Yeah.
didn't stay for Hall of Fame. No.
I ended up leaving too.
We bailed. We all bailed.
Yeah,
Yeah, we all bailed.
we dipped.
Takes in the Hall of Fame's like another 2
yeah,
hours.
that's what I'm
like,
saying.
That's so
But
long.
it was a half hour just to set up, and that's
Right.
where we were like, all right, we're
I
leaving.
wonder if they're going to do that again this year. Now that it's going to start an hour later. Because now the SmackDown's 3 hours. Are they going to do
Oh, no,
another
they can't.
2 hour
They can't.
Hall of Fame starting at
There's
11
no way.
o'clock?
There's no way.
Although it's going to be in Vegas though, so it'll be earlier for them.
Fuck that. I'm not in Vegas.
No, I'm 100% with you. I'm not watching
God, I
it.
hope
I'm just
not.
wondering if they're going to do that.
That's a good question with the West Coast thing. I didn't think
Right.
of that. I still think it
I think they shouldn't.
Hall of
they
Fame
don't.
it's cool. I've been to.
I used to be a lot more excited for the Hall of Fame, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
They should put it on Thursday.
Podcasts, we
Because it
just-
used to be what? But then
Used to be
it used to be the day before.
Saturday,
Yeah,
yeah.
it used to be the day before.
before it was 2 nights.
Yeah, and
Right.
now
One
2
of the
nights, and even before, I think before Stand and Deliver were as big as they were. Like it was like the Saturday main event. It was the
So
big thing on Saturday.
if I remember correctly, the first couple years of NXT, it was Takeover on Friday, Hall of Fame Saturday,
Yes,
Mania
yeah.
Sunday,
Yep.
and then they flipped it and they did Hall of Fame Friday, Takeover Saturday, Mania Sunday. But that was also back when SmackDown was on Tuesdays.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it wasn't on Fridays yet.
Yeah, I went to. I actually was there when Donald Trump got inducted,
Ooh.
and it was Trish Stratus,
Is that 2013? Mick Foley?
Rhea McFoley, when Jericho let McFoley hit him with an elbow drop
Yep.
and pin him because he said he never pinned Jericho.
Yep.
Trish Stratus' husband just got booed to fucking oblivion.
Which that's
Poor guy.
And believe
Yeah.
it or not,
Poor guy.
I don't remember the reaction for Trump, but this was before he became a political figure, so
Right.
I'm sure it was
Sure, it was a good reaction.
probably
Right.
decent. We were in New York.
Sure, it was
I
very
think that's
positive.
also like right around the time of his roast.
Around
think
the
that's around that same
He
year.
was still. People forget he was a celebrity.
Oh, yeah.
A well liked.
I mean, he
for
was
the most
the
part,
he was
celebrity.
like the celebrity for a lot of
Yeah.
people.
You know,
He's in Home Alone too.
Yeah.
He's in a lot of rap songs.
Yeah.
Yo,
A lot of rap songs.
The Apprentice was a very highly watched show.
Yeah.
They did
Yeah.
a celebrity one.
It's crazy
Let
how
that
fast
sink
that
in,
changes.
Too. They did a celebrity
I would
Apprentice.
be lying if I said I didn't watch at least an episode of The Apprentice. Like I know who Omarosa is,
Right.
because of The Apprentice. So
Right.
like I definitely watched an
You
episode or
fired.
two.
Who didn't say you fired?
Yeah,
Right.
Like,
Everybody said you fired.
Absolutely. I still say it.
And
Although I'll sometimes do it more like Vince.
you fired. You're fired.
That was just more fun to
yeah,
do.
that one is.
Yeah, but it hurts your voice.
It
Yeah, it
does
is. You
hurt.
can only
You
say it
can't do
once.
it as much.
And
Don't say
one
it
time
once.
I went so OD with it, I almost passed out.
Yeah, it takes
Like
a lot.
blood rushed right to my head, and I was like, ugh. I
That's-
felt like it was like
that's
that
aggressive.
gif of that kid that's like, ugh. That was me after I did the "you're fired." I was like, shit,
That's-
I'm almost you're passed out.
That's an aggressive. You're fired.
Well, I mean, he has the
Yeah,
lung
no, yeah,
capacity
right.
for it. Dude was yoked up. Me, I'm just fucking
Right.
just a little Portuguese guy. So when I do it, it's like, ugh. I'm not meant to raise my
and
voice.
Vince's
that loud.
voice is paying for it now. He doesn't.
Yeah.
have
Oh, for
much of
sure.
a voice these days.
Steph still has her voice, even though she tried to channel.
Yeah,
her
yeah,
dad
she did.
For,
She did.
For a
She was
while
good
there.
at it too.
Yeah.
She was.
No, she's good at it.
She was good at it.
Speaking of her, she's got her show coming
New
out.
show,
soon.
yeah.
Starts later this month, I think.
Yeah, shout out to
Stephanie's
Steph.
Places.
Yeah.
Yep.
With Punk as the first episode.
That's
Is it
pretty
Monk?
cool.
That's dope.
That's gonna be good TV.
Yeah, I think that'd be
that's
cool.
gonna
I
be good
saw when
TV.
she was on McAfee talking about it
Yep.
because McAfee's one of the guests too.
Yep.
It seemed pretty cool. Sounded pretty cool.
I love Steph.
She's
great.
she's-
I'm very happy that she turned out as normal as she
yeah,
could be.
Yeah.
being
because
McMahon.
she is like all her father.
Yes.
Yes.
And for her to be all her father and not have completely stepped in, got anything at
Right.
this point, at least that we know of, to
Right.
be pretty good,
Well,
all
she's
things
been
considered.
allegedly on the other end of some of it.
Yeah, yeah. So, yes, from her own father.
Yeah.
So yeah, the fact that she's not in a padded room somewhere, her or she, to
Allegedly.
be honest.
Yeah. No, that's said allegedly. I
Right.
said allegedly.
I'm just doubling down. I know
I-
you did.
I
You
doubled
absolutely
down,
did, and I'm just doubling
allegedly.
down on it to be extra safe.
Allegedly.
I mean, at this point,
Right.
I know. Can you not believe anything?
Right.
So yeah, that was SmackDown.
yeah, yeah, that was
That's how
that was it.
started.
SmackDown.
Can't give me anything else there.
Raw.
Yes.
Raw.
Okay, Raw. We all watched.
Solid Raw.
Solid Raw.
Such a good Raw.
Start to finish again.
Which, big surprise, they're in Madison Square Garden.
know.
They knock it out of the fucking
They
park.
knocked it out
It
of the
was a
fucking
banger.
park. How did it open again? It was so good. I remembered.
Jey Uso.
Oh, Jey Uso, "Play My Music" came
Yeah.
out.
The Islanders team.
So let me ask you
Yeah.
this.
Islanders team.
Let me ask you this. I thought it was a Knicks.
Oh, yeah,
it?
you're probably right because they were in the
Oh,
garden.
so wait,
He
so
was
I-
in Knicks colors. It
yes.
was just he was in
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a he
yeah.
was in like a.
See, the
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
is, the Knicks
So
colors
I'm
and the
thinking
Islanders
hockey.
colors
I know,
are the
same
same.
colors.
No, I
Yeah,
know.
I
So,
remember
like,
seeing the
I
orange because
went.
it's been the hockey theme we
Right.
talked about. That's
No,
right.
but
That's
he wasn't
right.
even
That
wearing
wouldn't
a
make
Yeet
sense.
shirt. It was with like a logo on it. He
I
was
thought it
just
did say
wearing.
Yeet, but it was just
Oh no, it
orange.
said Yeet, but it was like a
Oh, okay.
singlet.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
It was like a
I remember it being
holographic
orange,
singlet.
Yeah, orange and blue. Yeah.
He came out. That was cool. I felt like the Yeet chant was a little weak in the Garden. I wasn't overly.
It didn't
Impressed
go as
with it.
long.
Yeah.
But
as
also,
usual.
I didn't.
It might. Yeah, I don't
when
know.
they did the drone shot, it felt like there was some non-yeeters.
It almost felt like New York was like, we're too cool for this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
much New
yeah,
York.
they felt like they were supposed to be the king of the slang, and they
Right.
were not feeling.
It
the
also
Yeet.
felt like his entrance, just comparative to what we've seen the last couple of months, felt a little rushed.
Yeah, and
Like
the
he
kid
kind of
that-
booked it down. He kind of like half-assed brought a kid out.
And that kid was not good at yeet.
He wasn't.
Not
he
a good.
wasn't.
The timing of
No.
his yeet was.
Well,
But
he
man,
hasn't
that
hit.
kid was
He hasn't
fucking-
hit puberty
That's a
yet,
good
Mike.
point,
So
yeah.
I don't
Right.
think he's eating yet. At
Yeah,
least.
we all had bad time.
Yeah,
eating
yeah,
at
yeah.
his
I will
age.
say that kid looked
He's only eating
like
in
he
his
may have been
hand.
the happiest of all the
Oh,
kids
no,
so
he was
far.
so
Like,
happy.
he
That's
was
the
Yeah.
best
right.
part about
Yeah,
that
exactly.
moment. It's like it's not even when he's eating; it's when you walk away. And that one was perfect because you could see it's always mom or dad with the camera, and they cut back, and you just see both of them look, and their eyes just bulge out of
Yeah.
their head. Like,
Yeah.
did that just happen? Like
That's
that's
really cool.
that's the coolest fucking part of it.
But yeah, underwhelming Yeet from the Garden.
Yeah, I agree.
I was not impressed. It felt
They
like it
dropped
should
the
have
ball.
been a little bit more hype.
Maybe they were also upset that they didn't have the short ramp this time.
They could have been. They could have been.
So they were like, fuck it, we're not going to eat
Mm-hmm.
for
Yeah,
this.
I also love that. I do love that we get somewhat unique sets whenever they
do.
have a bigger
Yeah, yeah.
crowd. They have the
It
shorter
was different. It was nice.
Tron and everything, and I think it adds to a big night feel. You know,
Yeah.
like having that main event that you had, being in the Garden, the mecca of WWE, it was cool to see that they had the specialized, like, you know, we're going to have more people in this motherfucker tonight. So make
And
it
you can
pop.
tell from behind the scenes, and it was Kaz who had posted this. Obviously all the people they had there, you know, all the special
Andrew
guests, but they
Scholes.
had some really cool shit. Like behind the scenes, like Cass had posted something of like this little like storefront pop up they set up that was like WWE Bodega.
Oh yeah,
Which was dope.
yeah.
And he's like, you get food and drinks and cool stuff, and that's where the cool people were hanging out and mingling. It's like, those things are cool
That's
too.
cool, yeah.
Right? Because like a
Unique to,
lot of
like,
people
the-
who go to the show, whether you're not a huge wrestling fan or first time, whatever, like that might be what entices you, is
Right.
the other stuff. So the fact that they leaned into that and also made it very New York, calling it a bodega, which is
Right.
cool. Like, ain't no way in hell Vince McMahon was calling that a bodega.
No.
There's no way
So,
Vince
like,
McMahon
knows what a bodega is.
is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No shot.
Unless he might do some
You think he's ever been
trafficking
to a
through the
diner?
bodegas.
No. Not
No.
since he was
Not
like
since
12.
he was an
maybe.
army brat.
Right.
Yeah, like,
I went to a diner.
unless that's his front. I don't know. Is he washing money through diners? Is that where the trafficking happens? I don't know.
Oh God.
Is that where John Laurinaitis would go?
That's
Who
where
the
he's
fuck
working
knows?
now.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
diner.
Ah, yes.
We went to a diner in New York City one time. My buddy ordered the eggplant parmesan at a diner.
God bless
And
him.
the guy had to walk to I'm gonna go run to the bodega.
go get
and
an
grab some
eggplant.
Literally, I
Right.
swear to God.
I
True
believe
Hey,
story.
at least he
Yeah.
went and got you an
Yeah.
eggplant.
He's like, I'm gonna run to the bodega and get an eggplant, and he did. It was fresh.
Could have
Fucking-
gave you
fucking
a
shout out to him.
fucking rat and told you
Right.
it was eggplant. So
Shout out to diners in New York.
It's impressive a diner has eggplant parm on
Yeah,
it.
no, but my buddy is like notorious for ordering. Like he's a big like meatloaf surprise guy.
okay.
Right.
Like
No,
he'd,
it's
he'd
fair.
be like, oh, they got a meatloaf, and if it says it's award winning, he's buying. It doesn't matter what the fuck it is.
So he
Right.
waits for the 3 days a year when the McRib comes back.
Yes.
And the fish fillet.
Yeah,
Is that-
yeah.
Okay.
If
All
it's
right.
if there's an award winning
There's
special,
always one of those
item-
guys in every group.
Right.
Yeah.
Was it me? Did we go to a diner and I just blacked this out?
No,
Did
but-
I get an eggplant parm at a diner and I
Yeah.
completely forgot?
Coincidentally, he is a huge Niners fan.
Oh, really?
And when they went to Mania 31,
One.
and he got meatloaf there, and he missed the whole weekend events, basically. And he went to Mania like couldn't drink, eat anything, basically just like powered through it because he was there,
Right.
and tried not to puke on the person in front of him the whole time. But
Jeez.
not the meatloaf. Yeah, so you would think he'd learn. No, he still will get.
No, I
meatloaf.
respect that.
Yeah,
I've
that's
gotten
wild.
sick from restaurants and then ordered that same thing at another restaurant.
Yeah, that's wild. I haven't had.
See,
salmon
I
in 6
haven't.
years.
I haven't had
Sounds
Dragon
so good.
Villa. I mean, you guys know what Dragon Villa. Dragon Villa was the Chinese food I grew up on as a kid. I have not had Dragon Villa for probably 3 years because it gave me the worst food poisoning of my life.
Yeah.
I was in an urgent care on all fours, and I was like vaguely in and out of consciousness. And I only remember the nurse like having to give me a shot in my ass.
Whoa.
Because I was just in so much pain, and she had to
Damn.
basically just like calm me down. It was the worst pain of my life, and the only logical explanation was I had Dragon Villa. And that was it. And I love that place. Nothing like a poo-poo platter from Dragon Villa. I ain't going back since.
Food
You got a
poisoning.
poo-poo platter,
Yeah,
right?
you got
I
a
did.
poo-poo
You got a
platter.
poo-poo platter, right?
Shit came to life.
Food
A real
poisoning so
version of
bad.
a poo-poo platter.
Food poisoning so bad that they had to give you a shot.
Yes.
To, to the cheeks.
It was
Yeah.
actually in his arm, but he requested.
No,
No,
yeah,
he was
yeah,
like, no,
maybe, maybe
it
so.
has to be in the
It's
Like
eye.
more-
I have vague memories of my wife was with me, God bless her, but I remember like being in doubled over in pain, but like on all fours in the urgent care, and I remember her giving me a shot, and I don't know how it ended up going into my ass, the shot, but I want to say she was like, this is gonna get into your blood system quicker, and I was like, whatever the fuck you need
Well,
to
they
do.
take steroids. That's
Yeah,
what
get a
they do.
shot at the frat house?
whatever you need to do to like just get this devil out of me. Crazy.
Yeah,
And
no,
I
the devil
wanna-
usually
I'm
does
never
exit
going
from
back.
the ass.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
If you ever did a South Park reference, alien
times.
probes,
That's right.
also from the ass.
But also R.I.P. John Clayton, because the meatloaf reminds me of Mom. I'm done with my segment. God rest that man's soul. One of the best This is Sports Center, just ESPN commercials ever.
Yeah.
Well, the best was
God
like
bless that
because
man.
the rumor was always that he had a ponytail.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Because you never saw
Right.
the back
Yeah,
of
you
his
never
head.
saw
Right.
it. So fucking
So
good.
when he turned around, he had it.
Oh.
Fucking, yeah,
I thought he
that's-
like lets it out.
Yeah, he lets
does,
it out.
lets
He
it out,
lets it
yeah.
out. I think it might be a Slayer
He's wearing a
t-shirt. He's
Slayer
wearing.
t-shirt, yeah.
Oh my god! And just Mom, that was my segment.
Yeah.
Just oh my god, perfect.
R.I.P.
God rest his
Forgot we
soul.
lost him, to be
God
honest.
rest
Yeah.
his soul.
Great guy.
So yes,
That was the start. Uso.
Uso, the Judgment Day stuff. So that's inevitable, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, Finn's gonna go separate ways.
So I'm thinking it's either gonna go one of two ways.
Finn does a face turn.
Either
I think they're gonna turn on him.
they're gonna turn on Finn, and which will make him be face,
Yeah.
or they're gonna kick out Dominic, and he's gonna stay in. And this was all
No,
a big ruse
no,
to kick out
no.
Dominic.
This week gave me more, especially with Dirty Dom being the one to set the matchup for him, and then
Right.
kind of the little whispers and the things he said and his facial expressions made me think they're gonna screw.
You know what's
Finn.
going to be the big indicator to me is going to be if Finn wins the IC title. Because I also think if they're going to do a multi-man IC title match and Finn's going to be in that match, I think he's going to be the one who walks in
Yeah.
the champion. Because Braun doesn't need to walk in champion. He just needs to be in the match.
No.
It's true.
And,
Similar to like what we saw with not Io.
Well, yeah,
Io getting the belt before going in because she probably isn't going to leave the
Exactly.
champion. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I just every time the Judgment Day is on my TV,
I know it's just hard. It's harder and harder.
I'm all
It's a
set.
shame.
I always just like, man, it's WWE's version of Death Riders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not as high
yeah.
profile, but it's like, man, such potential, just not.
Yeah. I mean, Dom's still killing it, and
Yes.
like I'm excited for Finn to kind of finally just like spread his wings and go do his own
Hopefully,
thing.
actually win the world title.
Right. You know, get a legitimate shot.
But I
without
guess
injuries.
it's crazy how much Rhea and Priest did for the Judgment Day.
Right.
Yeah.
Like their
Especially
presence.
Rhea.
And I think it just ran its
Especially Rhea,
course.
but,
Like, especially once the Rhea and Liv
Oh,
story
it should
was
have ended.
done.
That's when
and
it should have
Dom,
ended. When
you know that whole
Priest-
love
Priest-
triangle.
That's
Finn
when it should have
thing,
ended. That's when it should have
That's
ended.
when it should have ended. You should have ended it then. Now you got your dragging Carlito
I
along.
know.
JD's out hurt. You're just.
And that's the thing, because they got like the B squad. Like
Yeah,
that's the
Raquel.
tough part.
My God,
It's
they
like,
keep trying to make Raquel
they're
happen.
getting so much airtime, and it's just it's not hitting the same.
Being the massive Finn fan that I am, it pains me to
Oh,
completely agree
yeah.
with you. It's a B squad right now.
It
Yeah.
sucks. And I've been waiting for the Finn push. I was hoping for it. He's deserving of it. I'd love to see Demon Finn back.
Same.
Give him a title run. Any title run, he's gonna kill it.
But I also think Dom is gonna be a guy.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, you know, I think he's a guy now, but I'm saying like a guy.
Yeah.
Where
He'll be a world
He will.
champion within a year to 2 years tops.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got to clear some of that just
Right.
top heaviness out. Naturally,
Yeah.
over time, that'll happen. But he's absolutely going to be in the picture.
So, yeah, there was that. What else am I missing? Gunther. I clearly I had a lot of time to prepare today.
No, but I
Usually
mean,
have it
honestly,
run
and
down.
it's hard for me the last few weeks, and we talked about it. Gunther and Jay is just not doing anything.
Not
for me.
doing
So
anything for me.
anytime, and it's not. I don't think either of their faults. I don't blame either one of them or the two of them as a collective, but it's just not doing it for
Can
me.
we just stick to one world title again? Like
I
I hate when they do
I'd
two
prefer-
world titles because one just there's always one that nobody gives a fuck about.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and it just feels stupid. To be honest, I'd rather have
Or-
10 guys going for the same
Yeah.
belt.
Or you got to do like I've been pitching for a while and go back to brand exclusive
specific,
pay-per-views.
no.
Because then it will make the titles feel bigger, at least having its own.
Sort of, but there's
Favorite.
always going to be. At least this is how my brain works. It's always like, well, who's the real champion? Because like if there's so like, and now WrestleMania, they're all on the same PLE,
Right.
so it's like, oh, you're celebrating a world championship, but you're also celebrating this world championship. But I think we can all agree, and the majority of people agree, like Cody is the real champion.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like he's the guy.
Right.
But that's the thing. That belt is going to main event night 2.
Right.
Jay and Gunther is going to either open
Open.
night 1 or 2 or be a, at best, co-main event.
Yeah. it's-
Probably night 1.
I think
Certainly
it's-
not a co-main event night 2.
I definitely think it opens just
Yeah,
to get the
I think
hot.
so. I agree.
heating
I
of
think
the
it
crowd
opens
to open
Saturday.
the show.
I think it opens
Yeah.
Saturday.
I think-
Likely to like kick off everything is what I'm thinking.
I'm thinking
Because I
actually
think one of
Sunday.
the women
The women.
might open Sunday. Because the way I'm looking at it is they're probably between the 4 title matches, 2 will open, 2 will end.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm thinking maybe you open the whole thing with Jay, you give either Tiffy and Charlotte or what is probably gonna be the triple threat, the main event first
Not
night.
Tiffy
probably.
and Charlotte.
No?
And that's no knock on Tiffy.
No,
but
that's not an opening
But that-
match. I agree with you on
No,
that.
no,
I'm saying not a
opening.
main
meaning
event.
like that. Meaning they might give that as a main event night 1.
Oh, no,
Then
no,
you
no.
get
No.
the triple threat, or vice versa, opening night 2, and then you finish with
the
men.
triple threat you could do, but Charlotte and Tiffy. No disrespect to Tiffy, we're Tiffy
Night-
people, but she's not ready for a
Night
main
one
event.
is going to be main evented by a triple,
The triple
threat, just
threat.
not the one you're talking
Yes,
about.
no, it's going to be. Well, that's what I'm saying. It'll be the other triple threat, likely, and that's I guess the tough part. But that's also just where we are.
Right.
Are they
And
gonna
like
build
and,
the women as a
and-
co-main event and be like,
and that's the
high
thing.
roll?
It's like you can obviously give it, and this is no slight to women because you say the same thing about Jay and Gunther, right?
Right.
You could give it to them because it's a world title match, but
Right.
is that really the main event? No, we all know it's not, and that's the part. That's just where we are, and that's indicative of what you're saying. Where like this title is not gonna, it's never gonna be comparable.
No.
It's just not.
It really isn't. And unless you, in writing, make it known as the 1B title. But the longer you try to push it as the equal title to the WWE title, to me, it's just going to get outshone.
The only way
I
you
don't know if that's
really elevate it is you need a big, you need Cody to hold that
Well, that's
title.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You have to basically flip who's wearing it, but
Right.
even then, just the aesthetic of what the belt looks like.
Right.
Like we've talked about so much. Like you have to position the one that has your logo, the whole belt, as the number 1 belt. So even that alone is like that's never going to not be the number 1 title.
Right.
Yeah. But I guess technically, I mean, you have like you can look at it as like the light heavyweight title and the heavyweight title. You know what I mean? Like if you
But
want
that's
to
my
think about it
thing,
from like a tier perspective,
I would reframe it like I'd love like a world TV title to come back, right?
Yes.
Like that's not going to be
They don't need
positioned
any
that
more
high,
belts, though.
but like you have to really delineate it in writing, like specifically say what it is, because if not, it's
But
just
I
going to
think-
get caught up there.
Because as much as they don't think, it does matter to us. Like we do care
absolutely.
about like the like tiers of these belts,
100%.
you know, because to me that always mattered a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, back in the day, the European title, the light heavyweight, the short stint that it existed, you always knew that was a Sunday night heat and a title that can get lost on, even though at that time any title could, on television, whatever.
Yeah, same with your hardcore title. Like you
You know,
just
once
knew
in a
where
while
these
your
were gonna
IC,
be.
but your IC back then still felt so much
it was
bigger.
your workhorse title. That was one rung below your world title. Like if
Yeah.
you got to that, you're now in the picture of that. And I think for us as fans too, it's easier to look at tiers of wrestlers.
Right.
Like if you're competing for the IC, cool, you're up next. You're right on the cusp. If you're competing for the 247 belt, you're probably just kind of a mid card guy who's just hanging on.
Right.
Like,
I think they've done that with the IC, which to me is even more reason to not have the heavyweight title.
Yeah.
Like if you're IC, you're elevating it so much, and we know Braun is going to be a guy.
Yeah.
We know like you've done a good job, like Gunther and how long he had that belt. Boom. Now you elevated him to the main event scene. To me, it's like you give him the 1B, which almost feels as equal as the Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because like at the end of the day, you don't think Gunther wants that belt that Cody has.
Right.
You know, you don't think Punk has mentioned that. Like, I want that belt. It's just the way it is. So,
I don't know how you do it, but I do think there is a way to get them closer though, because if you look at like the early Ruthless Aggression when they first did
Right.
those two
Yeah,
did
yeah.
feel
They did.
equal to
They
each
did.
other.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get back to that.
But think
spot.
about how many heavy hitters they had.
Oh,
then,
absolutely.
you know what
But I mean,
Like,
think of how many heavy
Yeah,
hitters
yeah.
they have
That's
now.
no, they
though.
do.
True.
They do. But does The Rock carrying the WCW title then, or the heavyweight title then, or
Right.
like The Undertaker carry as much clout as like a Damian Priest?
Right. No, I'm
You know
saying
what
I don't know
Like,
how you get it back to that level,
Yeah.
but it is doable. You can. You just got to put the work in. And again, I don't
Seth
know how
Rollins
you get there.
had it, and even then, it's like
Right.
It's hard to.
I do
really
think
care about it.
if he lost it to Punk like he was supposed to, that does elevate it a bit.
Because Punk,
Because exactly,
as
Punk's
good
at
as
that
Rollins
level.
is, it's
Yeah.
just a different. When you cross generations and like the metaverse, right? Like Punk transcended wrestling because of how much of he became this like ghostly figure. Like,
Right.
where is he? Is he ever going to come back? The what ifs, right? Like the CM Punk chants. People who didn't know wrestling knew the CM Punk chants.
Yeah.
So you put that belt on him, it's different. Wrestling fans know Gunther.
Yeah.
Wrestling fans know Seth Rollins.
Right.
You know, like they don't really
Yeah.
transcend it. To
And with
me, that's what you need as a champion.
With
Had
Punk
you
too,
made-
like we talked about earlier, the wrestling is real. Like Punk made it real.
Right.
Like,
Made it real.
everything about Punk is real life.
Right.
It's not sugarcoated. It's real. It's a shoot. It's never a work, and that's what we love about it.
Had you made Gunther versus Cena and that's 17, that elevates that title.
Oh, for sure.
It doesn't feel
For
right
sure.
for
Yep.
Cena's
Yeah,
17,
exactly.
but it elevates that title.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's
does.
why, like, I had joked about he should win the TNA title
Right.
at 17.
Right.
Like WWE wouldn't do that, but imagine what that does for TNA.
That'd be
Imagine
sick.
what it does for that partnership.
that would actually
Imagine
do
what
it.
it
They would
does for
never
like
do that, but-
someone like a Joe Hendry who fucking wins it back off him. And like
Right.
that's the type of thing. And yeah, like that's maybe a bridge too far for this, but that's how you would do it.
Yeah.
That's how you would do it. So I don't know, but you mentioned, and I'm glad this is a perfect segue. Punk and Rollins.
There you go. I was-
Monday was the first time I felt like they were on equal footing with the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like those
Very
chants,
split.
the Rollins,
Very
the same.
split.
Those felt real.
Because New
Those
York
felt
City.
very
That
split.
is
very
and
smarky.
it was nice because it was like, okay, if done correctly, and if everything's got to come together, right? Osmosis has to work, but that felt like, okay, wow, these are two main eventers who are getting love and respect on the same level because they are as wrestlers on the same level. We know
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And overall, I think in terms of characters, I mean, I think it's easy to forget some of the shit Seth Rollins did and carried and was there for, etc. Which is funny because that's what a lot of the beef or issues might have been between the two of them. But like, they are on equal footing in so many ways. Punk, because he's Punk, always has that little extra. But Monday was the first time in this feud they felt like they were on equal footing, and it felt great. I think that helped make the match what it was in so many ways.
I'd even argue to your point, as wrestlers, Rollins might
Might have-
currently
he might
even
have,
have
yeah.
a step
He
above.
might have.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It might have.
So
Just
like,
far
which
as-
also
Yeah,
helps
yeah,
your
yeah.
point even more is
Yeah.
like how it made it feel
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah, just based
So
on
big.
like where they are age
Right,
wise
absolutely.
and in their
Oh,
career.
for sure.
You know,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
though
yeah.
Rollins has a lot of miles on him,
Yep.
many major injuries, he also is still goes a little bit better. But they just worked. If there's still real heat between the two of them,
They know how to hide it.
They know how to hide
They
it.
are professionals.
You know, this
They
is
are
like
pros.
This is like Michael's.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
Bret Hart.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
literally
it is.
took the words
Yeah,
out of
it
my
is.
mouth.
It
This
is.
is like early mid '90s Michael's Bret
is.
Hart, where it's like, fuck, if these dudes really hate each other, but they can go in the ring like that, because again, you had another match before the big interference there at the end with Roman Reigns coming back. Great camera work.
Yes.
So good.
Which again, those
Because you could hear the
production
pop
meetings,
and like
Yeah.
you could hear it.
You
could
but
see
there was
the
nothing-
crowd pop, too,
It was,
yeah.
and it wasn't your typical like meticulous
No.
slow entrance
Yeah.
from
No, no.
Roman Reigns.
no music, which
No
I love. Like
music.
you hear it all the time. If you're doing a run-in, you shouldn't have music.
I
It
agree.
defeats the purpose.
Unless you're
Makes no
Stone
sense.
Cold, because the glass shatter will fucking pop,
Yes,
pop every time.
because of the glass. But like in general, it's like, all right, if I'm running in, I'm trying to catch somebody off guard.
Yeah.
Right? If they hear my music, usually they can hear what's going on. They hear the pop, but they can't see me. So it's like conventional wisdom tell you. But that was done so well, so well.
yeah.
And the
there you
match
go.
itself, I mean, the part that I loved the most, and I heard Bully Ray say this on Busted Open, but like I looked at it the same way, and he wasn't comparing Fletcher and Ospreay to that ladder match. Two completely different. I enjoyed the hell out of both of them, and that's what's great about wrestling. You can love both, but like when you think about and he said it, he's like, the cage is the gimmick. You don't need any other gimmicks.
Yeah.
Like being
Right.
locked in the cage is the gimmick. Like the bumps off the cage, but you getting out. How do you get out? And the thing I loved is both Rollins and Punk had the opportunity to walk out, and the other guy was like, "You're gonna walk out?
Yeah.
Like that's how you want to win
Right.
this shit? Like, and that was so good because that's what it's supposed to be.
Great
It's like, no,
storytelling.
I'm not trying to get out of here. I'm trying to beat the shit out of you, and you can't run from me. So that's why the cage is here, not for me to escape. Like that's what made that match feel so good and so real. The hockey fight they had at the beginning, they were so out of breath. You can tell they were fucking leaning into it. And again, yeah, the chemistry is insane. It is fucking so good between the two of them.
There was one, for me, negative about the match, and it's not even their fault. But for some reason, maybe this was just for me. Maybe you guys didn't have this issue. But for some reason, during that match, WWE went back to Raw on USA. Because they flipped each other off, and it went back to black screens for me, at least.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What the
I did.
fuck is
when
the
they
point
were
of
in the
that?
corners, I
yeah,
did
I
too.
do remember that.
Yep.
Yeah, that was bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is that about?
Like,
I did.
You're on Netflix
And it
now.
happened
You
like
stopped
3 times.
doing this.
It happened
Why
like
are you doing
Yeah, it
this
happened
now?
like 3 times.
And that-
did they
it-
also bleep anything?
They did.
Yeah,
I do.
they're
I don't
bleeping.
remember what it was,
They
but
were
I do remember
bleeping
they
some
bleeped
stuff. Yeah,
something.
yeah.
And it just, that takes me out of it a bit.
Yeah,
I'm like,
Yeah.
what
I
the
agree.
fuck?
I agree.
You got to let those moments breathe,
Yeah.
man. You got to let those moments breathe. You
But
gotta
then,
time your
it's
shit.
also it's like going from the night before watching Revolution, seeing all that
Right.
blood and seeing the swears and all that going, and like, all right, what's different from pay per view and Netflix? Right, that's what we were sold
Right.
on. And these things are going to happen. Yeah, I would love to hear. We got to get to one of these press scrums to ask, like, why does this happen?
Right.
Because I don't think
I
I've heard
guess
anyone
it still
ask
has
yet.
to do with the advertisers.
just like-
I think it's still the advertisers are probably not 100%.
You're probably
but
right.
then what about one fucking? Well, no.
But
that was different.
here's why that doesn't make. I think you're right, but here's why that argument doesn't hold water. Cody Rhodes just said, "Go fuck yourself."
That's
Rock."
true.
Well,
yeah.
that's what I was going to say. But that's
like,
Peacock.
no cuts.
Yeah.
But Peacock and Netflix are the same
Right,
thing.
exactly.
They're no different. So
They're- yeah.
you had that. You had even Michael Cole say like,
Right.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. I don't get it.
And yeah,
There's
Punk
got
said
to
shit.
be a reason, but I don't
Yeah.
get
Yeah,
it.
last week.
Rollins, and then they didn't bleep out Rollins calling him an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like that made it.
I know.
It was just weird. It was like weird the things they, and that just it, like, I don't want to take away from the match because phenomenal match, but like that does
Yep.
take me out of it a little bit. It's like, why are we doing this still?
Yeah, especially like the finger. Like,
Yeah.
come on, man. Like
Austin used to flip people off
That's
on
what I'm
USA
saying.
Network all the time,
Like
and
it's,
now on
it's
Netflix.
2025, bro.
Yeah.
Like any kid who's tuning in, apparently my mom would tell me this. I was notorious as a kid for when like my mom would be yelling at people in traffic and I was in the back seat. I would flip them off from the back window. In hindsight, blame Stone Cold Steve Austin,
Yeah,
but
hell
apparently
yeah.
that was my thing.
Right.
But I'm like, what little kid? I mean, come on. Like that's what we're worried about.
Flip people
Flipping
off
people
and
off.
tell them to suck it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we grew up.
Yep,
That's
that's
right.
how we got suspended.
Fuck that. I think my phone died.
Oh.
Did it?
I might have. I don't know.
You check.
I'm gonna get up.
You check.
This one's still good.
Yep, it's dead.
Oh,
All right.
so good old
We're
RVD.
flipping.
Oh, RVD.
Good old RVD.
Well, we can if we flip our chairs. I can zoom this out.
Well, that's probably not.
Right.
That one is probably not too far behind.
So we can. I mean, we're about to wrap.
Yeah,
right?
good wrap. Oh,
We're
that's actually a
wrapping.
good call there.
That's not bad.
We're at the end.
This is solid. Nick, you could squeeze a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just look like
No, we're
I'm
good.
way out.
Look
here.
at that.
Great main event.
Great main event.
Great
Great
main
main
event.
event. Felt huge. Felt great. Really excited about
Sets
it.
up the Mania match.
And yes, Roman Reigns being back. Yeah, I mean there you go. There's a triple threat.
And the whole thing with him and Heyman with like
Yes.
why
Oh
he
my
attacked
God,
Punk.
that was so. How the
good.
fuck did Heyman get in the ring?
Right?
I
Like, where the
watched all that.
fuck
I'm like,
did he come
wow,
from?
where did he come from under the
He just
ring?
appeared.
How did he get in so quickly
Came
to
down
get
from the
into that
rafters like
spot?
Sting.
No, the spot was perfect. It was so the way it was done. Roman's face of like, you shitting me?
Right.
You shitting me right now?
Mm-hmm.
Really? You doing this? Like, and then just going and destroying him, and then Heyman having no choice but to stand there and put his hands together because like,
Right.
what the fuck's he gonna do? That was so well done, so
Yeah.
good. Leads up to now, I have a better feeling of what the favor is. Like, I think the favor is like literally going to Paul and being like, Paul, you're gonna screw him over for me. Like, I think that's what that favor is. I think at this point it might be that blatant.
I still think the favor is going to be get me
Just to get in?
the Mania main event.
See, I think that is already sealed and like done. I think we're gonna get Adam Pearce or Nick Aldis come out and make that official. And I think it's gonna go one. Like that's what Monday gave me. Like, no, this is gonna go all the way there. Well,
It's possible.
We'll see.
It is
We shall
possible,
see.
but
One piece of news before we wrap.
yeah.
Did you guys see that supposedly it was supposed to be Cody who actually turned
Yeah,
and not
and he
Cena?
said no.
And he said no.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So apparently it was really supposed to be Cody.
Rock- so he
That's
was
what The
supposed to-
Rock pitched. He pitched it to Triple H. Apparently Triple H wasn't on board with it. Didn't like it. Apparently there was a meeting, and this is from Meltzer. So
Oh,
take it with a grain of
He's
salt.
been getting fed. He's been eating
Take
the
it with a
trash.
grain of
He's
salt.
been
But
eating the
I
trash.
don't think he was the only one who said
I've seen
this.
other people say this as well.
But apparently there was conversation between Nick Khan where he was trying to mediate between The Rock and Triple H, and they just would not agree. Rock wanted it to be Cody. I think even Nick Khan might have been like, okay, Rock, if that's what you want, we just got to now convince him, which also scares the shit out of me for who's really running shit, whatever. But Cody wouldn't do it. And I guess Rock may or might not have pushed the issue to that point, and it went to Cena, and Cena was okay with it. Apparently Punk was rumored, but they never went to Punk and made that a question. So I thought that was interesting.
Well,
like
it's funny
how that all
it became
came together.
Easier to make Cena turn heel as opposed
Yeah.
to Cody.
I know.
When Cody's already been heel before.
Right.
So like that, I thought that was interesting. That,
Yeah.
and also, I'm not gonna lie, worries me a little bit behind the scenes about the power dynamics. Like that was my
Oh,
concern,
well,
and I'm
I mean,
like,
I've been feeling.
yeah,
that.
I'm like a year from now, or even post this Mania.
I mean,
is
last
Triple H still
year's
gonna be running
Mania
show?
build
Like,
should
yeah,
tell
you what
like,
you need to
it
know
really
about.
scares me.
the only saving grace is Mania is going to come and go, and then The Rock's going to leave for a bit.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
So
I
he's
guess
about
the
to
only
go.
good
I don't
thing.
know when they're going to start filming, but he's about to do a movie with Martin Scorsese, which is like
Okay,
what
so
a
he'll be away
weird
for a while.
fucking
I know.
combination,
What's that gonna look like?
right?
That's
It's like some weird crime movie set in Hawaii about like the mob in Hawaii,
Oh,
and
Hawaii
like
5-0.
and
kinda,
he's gonna
yeah,
play
one.
Moana. He's gonna be the dad from Moana.
probably yeah. I mean, like it's Martin
Interesting.
Scorsese, so it'll probably
It's
be
gonna be-
fucking
yeah, it's gonna
incredible.
be
Yeah.
great.
But like
And
it's just
4
so
hours
weird.
long.
And
Yeah,
4
I was
hours
gonna say, it's
long,
gonna take a
exactly,
while
yeah.
to film.
And
It's
Leonardo
gonna take a
DiCaprio's
while.
going to
He
be
is
in it.
actually in it.
Is he in it?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, there you go. See, I didn't even know
He's
that.
in
Of course
it,
he is.
and Emily Blunt was one of the other people.
Ooh. If you
If you
Supposedly
would have
in
told
it.
me that
I'm
Matt Damon
sold.
was in it too, I'd believe you.
They don't work together a ton.
I know. I just
Damon
I'm just
and,
doing it the part.
Yeah,
That's
I
fair.
was literally gonna run. I was like the whole cast of the party.
Yeah, the pod.
De
you're gonna get
Niro would have
Wahlberg in
been the
there?
better go-to because De Niro and Scorsese used to work together all the time.
That's true. They did The Irishman, right?
They did
Yeah.
The Irishman. They
Another 4 hours.
worst CGI.
they also did Killers of the Flower Moon, as did Leo.
Shout out to fucking.
They did Goodfellas. They did. I'm not gonna go through
All
the
the
whole
good
thing. It would
shit.
take
They
too
did
long.
a lot.
They did a lot of movies together.
Yeah,
That
so I thought that
camera's
was
probably
interesting. I
gonna
thought that
die.
piece of news was interesting.
That
Yeah.
is interesting
We'll see
to
how
me.
that plays out.
That is interesting to me, like I said, because it's funny that it became easier to convince Cena to go
Yeah.
heel.
Right.
That's
And Cody.
Well, I've also always heard Cena has always wanted to go
Yeah.
heel as long as there was a successor to him with the kids, and that's exactly
That's
what
Cody.
Cody is.
Yeah.
Cody is. There you go.
And
That's
Jey
cool.
Uso. He has 2 of them now.
Yeah.
I know Jay's so fucking over.
Yeah.
His merch.
No. I think he's still number 1.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right,
Good
friends. That's it for us. We can't survive a whole week without technical difficulties. We have we're down to one camera.
glad
but,
we're here, damn it.
We made it to the end with this one still alive. Maybe
Which
I
is
just
impressive.
jinxed it. It's
Well
just
done.
very
I know.
impressive.
Look at that.
Like,
Flip on us
share,
today.
subscribe at EIPW Podcasts on Instagram and on X. And we'll see you back here next week. Peace. All in one shot.
They all get the piece this week.
Right.